Good morning, everybody. December 4th, Tallman Tech. Jason here, heading to get bagels this morning. Let's see how we do. Still stops too far behind this intersection. It really can't see well. You know, I was thinking the other day that they really need to look at not just the placement of the stop sign, but also, you know, the road itself, where the road actually touches the intersecting road, to figure out where to pull up to. Again, this is still too far back, but and it really should have gone just then. Just to review, I am on assertive, so this is as aggressive as the car can be on FSD Beta. Little phantom braking there. It also still takes a long time to slow down. From, you know, like there we were going 50, and now it's slowing down to 35 because of the speed limit change. I'd like to see that happen a little bit quicker. It is better than the previous builds, but that could still use some tweaking. I've already sent this to Tesla a couple times. We do still get some phantom braking on this hill going down the hill. Hopefully in the next week or so, we'll be able to do some testing in the snow. Right now, we've only had a dusting a couple times, so not enough to really take it out. And I didn't have snow tires on when we got our first snow, so now that I have snow tires on, it is as safe as it can be to go out and test and see how it handles in the snow. I'm not so concerned about it seeing, or at least determining where the car should be on the road, because it already knows how to drive on unmarked roads, and it does a great job with that. And really, a snow-covered road is no different than an unmarked road. My concern is going to be how well it handles with the traction, you know, stopping and taking off, and I guess we will see how that works. A little jerky, but it did complete that turn. thing too with this version, and I talked about this earlier. You know, it's keeping track using the upper camera to make sure that I'm not talking on my phone, like while I'm holding it to my face. But it seems to me, at least, that the limits for looking at your actual screen have been tightened to the point where I actually last week I received I got a FSD warning. I got an FSD warning that counts against my like I get 3 warnings before I lose FSD. And all I was doing was I was in trying to find Christmas music to play, and I couldn't, navigate. So I kept switching to this and then switching to Spotify, and then I would look up for a moment, then I'd look back down to try to find the Christmas music. And it had warned me enough times to pay attention, just trying to pick a radio station to listen to, that I actually got flagged for not paying attention enough, which also will trigger a demarcation on my score with Tesla. So that was I feel like there has to be a little more flexibility, given that everything you do is on the screen when you're driving. So as far as setting music, now I know somebody will say, well, you could just hold the button down and ask it to play, but it wasn't playing what I wanted to listen to. So that's something that I'd like to see improved slightly. That was actually a great test. Guy walked out of nowhere. Excuse me. Guy walked out of nowhere, and it didn't disengage, but it did pull right over and get around him. So that was great. I don't think it sees, well, it's getting a little confused about the center line there because it almost went over it. Well, it did go over it just slightly. It doesn't help that the lines are terribly painted in this part of town. That was, it stopped really hard right there, pretty far before the light. It's now going to make a right on red, which it's not allowed to do. But I'm going to let it. So, that was good. I liked how it handled with that guy pulling out in front of the car. I also like how it handled in a bunch of different scenarios there, so that was great. Obviously, it still doesn't know how to process the no right on red signs, so that still is an issue. But I'm sure they will. It's just not that important to them right now, but I know that it's probably a very easy fix once they get around to it. So overall, it was technically that was excuse me, a disengagement-free drive. So not bad. Heading back home from picking up bagels. See how it does here. We should be getting 10.6 later this weekend or early next week. So again, it'll always be exciting to see what type of improvements we see if there's any regressions. This ride back can be rather boring, but there are a couple spots. For example, up here, this intersection here is a left-hand turn. There's traffic coming 45 miles an hour this way, and then there's kind of a blind corner coming the other direction. So that's always a good test. And there, I got yelled at for not paying attention. It is interesting how they don't care if you aren't paying attention if autopilot's turned off. So if I have autopilot or FSD turned off and I am looking out the window or texting on my phone, let's say, or talking on my phone, I don't get any warnings. It doesn't yell at me at all, which I would think is an even more important time to make sure that you're paying attention, because you've got, you're supposed to be driving all aspects of the car. So, but that's not the way it's set up currently. Currently, it only is checking to make sure that you're attentive and paying attention if you have autopilot turned on. Good right-hand turn. Like I said, this is pretty straightforward this trip. I believe we are going to have a little bit of phantom braking coming up here, going up the hill. So we'll see how that goes. No, I wonder if it's more, if the in-cabin camera is more tuned for looking at the screen as far as looking out the window. So I'm actually going to try to now just look out the left window and see if that triggers a attentive warning on the screen. Yep, okay, so that works too. So even if you're looking out the left window, it does care about that as well. The other thing too you'll notice is that I mean you can't see my eyes, but I was looking out the left window. I got the warning to pay attention, and then as soon as I heard the noise, I was paying attention, and it took a second or two for the car to recognize that I was actually looking straight ahead, but yet it continued to give me the warning, which I mean could have led to me getting another mark against my FSD. So that's why I said I think they have more work to do on the in-cabin camera. That was a perfect left turn. That was like an ideal situation for it though. There was that was a good natural flow for that turn. It struggles more if you actually come to a complete stop. It determining which car is supposed to go first, and then it has a tendency to just pull out into the intersection. But that looked great. A little bit of slowing down there from 45 to 40. So that was actually excellent. That was 2 disengagement-free drives. So on the way to getting donut or bagels, and on the way back, 0 disengagements. So that's excellent. And especially on the way there, we had that issue with the pedestrian that kind of walked out in between 2 cars into the road, and it handled that excellently. So very good drive today. We'll see you guys later.